The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone, my name is Jolene Schaefer and I'm the Marketing Coordinator for SWK Technologies. I'd like to welcome you to our webinar, Key Benefits of Paperless Office in Sage 100 in a Changing Workforce and How to Enable It, presented by Aaron Oldeker of SWK Technologies. A little housekeeping before we get started. Everyone has been placed on mute to keep the background noise down. However, you can submit any questions you have throughout the webinar. To submit a question, look for the questions section in your GoToWebinar. We will answer all questions at the end of the presentation. We are recording this presentation and it will be distributed tomorrow to all attendees as well as to those who registered but were not able to attend. Please take a moment after the presentation to answer our one survey question. With that said, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to attend our webinar. We're here to help you get the most out of your software solutions and help you find an easier way to run your business by providing you software and industry knowledge, tools, and support whenever you need it. So whether you're here doing research for a new solution or you're just here to learn, we'd like to encourage you to ask any questions throughout the webinar. Lastly, as a quick reminder, SWK is constantly sharing important updates and software tips and tricks on our social media channels, so we encourage you to follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Without further ado, I'll hand it over to Erin.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Erin Oldeker. I'm a senior consultant with SWK. And I'm going to go through some paperless office. I'm going to first go through some of the features of it, and then I'm going to jump right into Sage and actually show you how to set it up and show you the how everything works. So paperless office is a standard feature in all of Sage 100 systems in version 4.3 and above. So this gives you the ability to PDF and save on documents and document management throughout your system. So we're going to go over how Sage Paperless Office saves you time, saves you money, and frustration. It's delivered and bundled within the product itself. So there's no extra charge to do things such as faxing and emailing of your documents that you use on a daily basis. Then we'll take a look at a demo of the paperless office across multiple modules. We'll take a look at it within the core modules, such as accounts payable. We'll also look at it within your distribution models. So how can paperless office save you time, especially when it comes to things that you do on a regular basis, such as sending out statements to your customers, sending out sales order acknowledgments, bills of lading or sales order invoices that you mail out. So think of all the things that you do every day that comes up to paper handling. So with paperless office, the savings go beyond just the paper itself. It also is the hardware, the printers and the copiers that you have to keep up to date and maintain, or the postage that you're paying to mail those statements and customer invoices to your customer almost on a daily basis. Think of all the recycling and disposing, even the storage costs. And when you're with Sage 100, it arguably has the best audit trails for reports, journals, and registers. But because it has so many different reports and registers, that can add up to a lot of paper, a lot of time that you're spending as well, filing that paperwork, etc. So think of all the ways that you may put it away. You may put it in a notebook, you may put it in a filing cabinet, or even just put it in a box and store it in a locked office. But that takes time and it takes expenses as well to pay for the rent for that space. So paperless office is designed to save all of that, save you the time it takes to file them away and store that information, as well as the paper savings itself and the space it takes. So paperless office is a secure method for generating and archiving your documents. And it does that through what is called a PDF converter that is built into Sage so that you can create your documents automatically in the background without having to do anything else besides your regular process of printing your documents. It will save it into the PDF and will make it available to you in a PDF paperless office viewer. Alternately, your crystal forms and your documents, such as your invoice forms that are saved or printed as a crystal form, The document can be saved to PDF as well, and then electronically delivered by email or fax to your customer. And there is a security on several layers built into Paperless Office, and that's to make sure that only those users that should be saving or accessing those reports and those registers and documents can access those properly and open up those documents. So Paperless Office allows you to email documents that I mentioned, but not just to your customers, but to your vendors. So you can email your purchase orders, your return orders to your vendors when you need to. This is going to save you time. You're not going to have to manually open up your email application, such as Outlook, manually attach as PDF or a Word document to your email. So with Paperless Office, it's built in, and within your email addresses are stored in the master file within your vendor maintenance and with your customer maintenance. I'm going to show you how you can store those and access those email addresses, and then when you want to print the document, you can add it on the fly, the email addresses as well. So if there's a salesperson or a warehouse person you want to copy on your email, you can add them to that particular order on the fly. The same with job cost invoices and payroll direct deposit stubs. If you have those, Paperless Office reaches just about every module within Sage, and it makes it that much more useful. So everyone that is online, if you currently are not using this module, Paperless Office, I would highly encourage you to start using it, especially because it's already free. There's just a little bit of setup. So it's built in. It's very easy to set up and to start using. They made it even easier in the current version. Paperless Office is available with public services such as Google Mail, Yahoo, Hotmail, Outlook. This means you no longer have to maintain your own email server, but you have other options. And then the communication between the client and the server can be encrypted, so it protects your sensitivity to the company, to company information. Okay, and then Microsoft Faxing is also supported, so you don't have to go out and sign up for a faxing service. It uses the Microsoft Faxing engine that's built into Windows. You can fax, fax services, driver built into the Microsoft Windows, utilize that for sending out your customer invoices, your customer statements. I'm not really sure who uses faxing still, but if your company still faxes, if there is a ability to still fax. So Paperless Office, it always saves a document to PDF. So whether it's a journal and a register, or whether it's a form you are printing out, you always will have a PDF that you can go back to. So if your customer calls you up and says, can I get that email resent to me or statement sent to me? You can go into your customer maintenance and click a button and have it resent the email or fax. You also have access within these PDF viewers to all the documents, whether they're internal documents such as your journals and registers, reports, forms. So think of all the pages and pages that's involved with a sales journal and printing that out. All of that can be accessed in a PDF viewer so that different people in your office can see that information. So this is really good too for audits. It can be financial reports as well. So if you have a customized Crystal report or Crystal financial report, you can make that available to your managers or executives in the office. So you're not having to print it out and then distribute it manually to the different people in the office. You can actually, with the new 2020 version, they added a feature where you can automatically set up an email feature to set up on a timer, or every Monday send out this specific report out to the managers, and I'll show you how to do that on a time schedule or something, so that automatically goes out. You don't have to do it manually yourself and send it out, and it emails out to the managers. So you're not having to print it out, and distribute it manually anymore. It can all go into a viewer or the ones you want to have access to it in security stage. It's all in role maintenance, so I'll show you where that is set up. So they can see the documents and reports that they need to see. So it makes it a lot easier as far as distributing to reading those reports to the different employees and people in your office. And then external documents are sent out, and you can optionally print and email. PDFing automatically happens through the PDF converter. So you have the option to have some customers set up so they have a paper invoice sent out, and then other customers can have their invoice emailed to them. So it works side by side. You can have a mix of some customers being electronic, having electronic delivery, and then other customers can have just a regular paper printed invoice and have that occur depending on the setup in the system. So here's what the journal, so here's the journal and register viewer, and this is what makes all this available. So you can filter, you can even sort by company, the module, or the individual document itself. So within Paperless Office, you have this nice journal and register or period end viewer. And if you have multiple companies, it makes it easier when you need to pinpoint which journal or which register or report you're looking at by date and so forth. All of these documents are stored on the server. It does not take up a ton of space as well, but this is where a user would come in and search for their documents, okay? So remember, all these reports, even if it's a customized Crystal report, can be available within that viewer. And then there's a built-in security through different layers. There's the standard Sage 100 task securities and role maintenance that you can set up, so only certain users can view and access the reports. And then there's security events for deleting reports within the viewer, and then even documents that you send outside of Sage. For example, let's say you want to send your internal accounts receivable person a secure encrypted sales person commission report. So you could certainly, you don't want the commission report to be opened by anyone, so you can attach a password to the individual PDF document itself, which is nice, so no one can, anyone can open it. So only the person with the password can open it, can open that report. So this is also useful for payroll documents, such as the check register, or you can encrypt the Adobe document, like for opening. Okay. You can also attach a document as well to any journal and register, so that in the Paperless Office viewer, so this is going to be helpful for cutting down the amount of external documents that you receive. So most of you or all of you are going to be receiving in some way, usually through the mail, invoices from your vendors. So a lot of you are going to file those away in a filing cabinet with associated source documents. You can simply scan those invoices in and then simply attach it to an invoice register. So when you're entering in your invoices, you can print your invoice register and then attach the documents, so you can have 100 vendor invoices all in one document. You can use Adobe PDF to combine all those invoices, let's say, into one single document, and then attach that day's list of invoices to that one register, that one invoice register. So when you go back to look at the invoice register, and I'll show you this, you can see all of the invoices that were paid with that batch of invoices. So that can be accessed at any time within the journal and register viewer. It's all attached together. So you can be prompted when you actually print the AP register for that PDF. So it will go out and attach it and grab it. And we have some customers that actually use, high-speed scanners to scan that information in. So it's like a copy, like a copy machine. So we'll copy it, it will scan it, and it'll combine it into one single PDF. And then you no longer have to file the paper invoices that you receive from your vendors. So that over time can take a lot of room in filing cabinets as well. So it's all about reducing paper, not just the paper that Sage 100 generates, but also the paper that you're receiving from your vendors as well. So all those AP invoices takes up room in notebooks and filing cabinets and boxes. So we want to give you a way or an option to reduce all of that clutter and simply streamline everything in electronic format, and then give you easy access at your fingertips to that information anytime you need it. And the Paperless Office Viewer will give you that ability to do that, okay? So we're not gonna go through questions yet. I'm gonna jump in to, okay, we're gonna jump into Sage. So we'll start with Library Master, and then we'll go to Company Maintenance. You'll pick your company code, and you'll go to Email tab, okay? And then you're gonna wanna get this information here on that Email tab, most likely from your IT company. They're gonna help you fill this out, and then you'll have them do a test email to make sure that this information pushes through to get those emails out correctly, okay? So that's really the first step. The next step, which is gonna be a little time consuming, but if you need help filling all this information out for vendors and customers, if you have a ton of this information, we can definitely help you import that, okay? So let me show you. So accounts receivable or accounts payable, you're gonna go to customer maintenance, okay? And each customer needs to be set up. So each customer should have an email address. They don't need to have an email address here necessarily, or they can have a primary contact here, let's say, if you want to set it up there. Older systems other than 2020 used to have a Paperless Office button right next to the email address, and you could click on it there. The 2020 version, Paperless Office delivery options are now under More, okay? But they all have the same screen when you pop it up. So this is where you tell the system that you want this customer to be able to do Paperless Office. So since I'm in customer maintenance, it's gonna ask me which of these do I want them to have Paperless Office for. So I'm gonna say I want this customer to do Paperless Office for an SO order. And I check off this box for email. But I also want to possibly print invoices or sales orders as well, okay? If you want that PDF document to have a password for the user to open it, if it's, you know, a check, or if it's, you know, an employee paycheck, something like that, you can put in a password here. It doesn't have to have a password. Then we would go to the Email tab, and you need to choose a way to email. What email address are we going to use? So you can say use email address in data entry, which means we're going to use the email address when you go to print the sales order. You can say use the customer email address, which was the email address that we saw that was set up, okay, in the customer maintenance. You can use a contact code. Like I showed you, we have those contact codes set up. Or you can do additional email addresses. You don't have to fill all this out. You could just say, I want this one, okay, this one email address. With the new version, with 2020, they've added new features here. Now you have the ability to carbon copy and blind carbon copy. So I can say, okay, well, I want AR at their company to be CC'd, or I want our sales team at my company to be blind copied. Okay, so these are new options that they've added. If you want to do that, it's not required, but these are new features that they've added in. If you want to fax, here's the information where you would enter your fax information. And you would have to do this for every single, this is what's the time consuming part. For every single one, so if I want to, I just did SO order. If I want to do SO invoice, if I want to do AR statement, if I want to do AR invoice, etc. So this is going to be time consuming, but we do have the ability to import this, and we can give you a template for something like this, where you would just, you know, put the information in based on that, and we can dump that information into Sage if you have a ton of sales, if you have a ton of customers or vendors and so forth, okay? So I did the same thing in AP as well, but let's start off with AR. So I entered customer maintenance, SO, right? SO, so I want to email out, I want to set up Paperless Office for my SO orders. So I'm going to go to sales order. Let's create a sales order and see what happens. So first one, this is going to be my test. Okay, so I am done with my sales order. Now what I want to do is I want to go and I want to print that sales order. When you print, you can either click on this print icon down here as a quick print, or you can say sales order printing. I'm just going to do quick print. So do you want to save changes? Yes, I do. So now we have the new sales, we have the sales order screen. Before we didn't have this under print orders. Now we have this area that says Paperless Office Output. We have some options here. We can say print all. So if we had a bunch of sales orders we were printing, we could say print all. So any sales orders that had that checkbox for printing, it would print those sales orders. We could say electronic delivery only. Any sales order that had electronic delivery checkbox, it's going to electronic delivery. It's going to send those out via email. It could say print and PDF. Okay, so print it and PDF. So it's going to save it to our PDF file where we can go look it up at any time. PDF and electronic delivery. So it's going to do all three. And then this is PDF or electronic delivery, PDF all, etc., PDF all. So for now, we're just going to say electronic delivery only, because this one we just want to email out. Now we have some options over here. I clicked on this icon. Here's where we can say email options. Email options, yes. Use email, message, yes. From email address. You can change this if you would like. Subject line. So now you have additional email attached. So now you can attach items. This is a new feature also in 2020 where you can attach additional documents. So for example, I can come in here and attach an item. For example, the one issue with this is it has to be a UNC path, which would be something that was saved on the network. Not really sure what the path would be. But if I try to save this, the directory path on the server, it has to be a UNC, no local or map drive. So, but I can attach as many attachments as I need to. And this will be an attachment that is connected to the email that goes out and sends out with the SO. Okay, and here's faxing options. Once we've finished with this, we can click print. As you can see, the preview button is grayed out because you can't preview it since it's going to be emailed. So we would click print. My email settings are not set up correctly. It's going to error out. Are not set up correctly with the Office 365, so it's going to give me an error. Typically, it's going to send out all the emails. It's going to run through all the emails. It's going to tell you how many emails were sent, and it's going to, if any were failed, it will tell you how many were failed. The one thing that it's not going to do, see number of attempted emails, for number of successful emails, 0 because it didn't go through. The one thing it's not going to do is it's not going to send it through your Outlook email box. It's not going to show that it went out through your email. So a lot of people will blind copy or CC themselves or CC a specific, email box so that they can see what emails actually went out, to guarantee that it went out, if that makes any sense. You also, let's go into Paperless Office. So once you've set up, I skipped a step over here. Once you've set up company maintenance with the email settings, you would come into the Paperless Office module under Setup, and you would tell the system which items you want to actually do electronic delivery and PDF storage. So you would pick, do you want forms? Do you want reports? Do you want journals, registers? I usually just check all of them off. And then this one is load data on initial viewer access. Usually uncheck these because sometimes if there's a ton of information in here, you don't want to sit there and wait for it to all load first. Okay. Here, if we just go down the list, here's where we pick the location. So typically, I will just say all companies, all modules. All companies, all modules. And then here's where you put the PDF directory. So you would have a folder out on the server, and your IT can help you with this, or someone from SWK, or you can reach out to me. Create a folder out on the network, just label it Paperless Office, and then you just have a folder out there that you dump all your Paperless Office documents to. Pretty easy. And you're going to do this for each and every one of these period end reports. Same thing, all modules, because it's all going to go into one location. Okay, so the last one is, this is where you put electronic delivery message. So when you send out an email, you want to put a message, right? You want to have a specific message that goes with the email. So for example, I sent an SO order. So you can type in whatever you'd like in the subject line. You also have these merge fields, right? So you can say attached is the document, which is sales order for, and then say, who the bill to name is, and then dated, whatever the document date is. The nice thing about this is a 2020 feature that they have. The other versions do not have this feature. It's just standard text. The 2020 version, you have the ability to use italics or underline stuff, or use colors, or add in a website. Okay. You also have new fields that they've added, but there's additional. You can add in merge fields in here as well, so that you can customize how this email is going to look. And you can use all of these forms. You can customize all of these forms that are out there. Okay, here's all the forms that you have. You can customize each and every one that goes out to a customer or vendor and so forth. So you want to do that first before you start emailing out. So now let's go into attaching files to a journal and register. Remember how I was talking about how in AP, when you attach, let's say, a bunch of invoices that go along and stay with your journal and register so that you don't have to keep all that paperwork along with you. We're not emailing it to anyone, not to like a customer. This is an internal document that we're going to keep. So in AP, I have a vendor. Let's see. Make sure they're set up. I think it matters. So we're going to do invoice data entry. For $30. It's going to go to the GL account that it's defaulted to. We're going to click print. Do you want to save changes? So now it's asking me, do you want to print the register? Okay, so now we have this pop-up. Now the way that we made this pop-up was a setting that we did in the setup options that we were just in. I'll show you. It's a checkbox that you can go to. But now it's asking me associated PDF directory. So where do we want that directory? So it could be like attachments or something like that. Where do we want it to go? And then you would say the PDF file name. What's the file name? Okay. Oh, so I want this one. This is my invoices that I want to go along and attach to this while it posts. So when you press print, not preview, when you preview it and then say post, it's not going to save the PDF, the Paperless Office. You have to press print. When you click print, it's going to populate a PDF, which means it's saved out to Paperless Office. So it's going to show you this PDF document, okay? That means it's saved to Paperless Office. Close out of it. Now it's going to say, do you want to update the register? Yeah, yep, I do. Now it's going to populate the daily transaction register. And I'm going to say, yes, I want to print the daily transaction register. And again, it's going to ask me if I have anything to attach to it. I don't have anything attached to it, so I can leave that blank. Again, it shows me the daily transaction register before I post, just to make sure it looks good. And it posted to the subledger, it posted to the GL, we're good to go. So the way that I got that to populate was in setup, journal and register maintenance. So before I have it set up all companies, all modules, but I also have it broken out by all companies AP. So look at this here. So I have PDF directory, just like the other ones, auto create PDF, yep. Down at the bottom here, it says prompt for associated PDF during journal and register printing. And I checked this off. Now, you don't want to check this off for every single one because that pop-up is going to become annoying if you're not going to attach something ever. Then you would put the associated PDF directory here, and that can just be attachment folder where it's going to go out to, and it's going to find where you've located all of your, attachments or your files that you're going to use. So that's where you set this up so that you have that pop-up, okay? So you want it to just be specific for whichever journal and register or whichever module that you're going to use that for. Now let's go take a look at what we've posted. So let's go into Journal and Register Viewer under Main. This is where we can go by company code, we can go by module code, we can choose the document. You choose the accounting date, okay? I'm going to go into AP. Today is the 24th. Okay, so here we go. ABC, AP, the 24th, AP Daily Transaction Register, Invoice Register. So the Invoice Register is where I attach something. So it gives me when the PDF was created. It gives me the journal name, okay? It gives me the accounting date. Was it actually updated? Now it tells me the PDF location. So where was that location for that journal? PDF exists, yep. Is there a password? No. Now it says, is there associated PDF? Well, we did attach an associated PDF with Invoice Register. So this is the location of it. For the AP Daily Transaction Register, we did not attach anything. Okay? So let's take a look at this. So here's where you can say, okay, I want to open the PDF. It's going to show you the Invoice Register if we want to take a look at it. If we want to open the associated PDF, here's the associated PDF that went along with it. If we want to email it out, we can electronic delivery it to whomever we would like to from this point, from email address is going to go out to, and then send if we wanted to email it maybe internally, if we want to email it out to a customer, etc. If we want to delete that, remember, this is all security settings too. So if you base it on security settings, some people won't be able to delete. Some people won't be able to dig in and look at it. Some people will not be able to even view, let's say, your GL transaction registers or your, AP information or your payroll information and so forth. And so this is where, if you don't know like the specific, time period, you could say, oh, I think it was in the month of January, so you could say January to January, so it's easier to find. But as you do postings, this is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So you're going to have to really understand, what company code, what module code, and then even what document. Oh, it was an invoice register. That's what it was. So you can minimize the amount of documents that are going to show here. And so that's how you look at each of them. That's a journal and register viewer. Now you have a period end report viewer. So they're all going to be different, okay? You have a customer viewer. Anything that you've sent to the customers, any of the forms that you sent to the customers, invoices, sales orders, statements, okay? Same with vendors. You send POs, if you send any of that stuff. If you have payroll, all of that, okay? Employee self-serve. This is where they can go out and look for themselves if they have paychecks. Another thing I wanted to show you, this is also new to 2020, but I think it's pretty cool. And I mentioned it earlier. So there's something called Task Scheduler, and a lot of people don't know about this. This is not new to 2020. This is in most of your systems already. But what I'm going to show you is new. But Task Scheduler is where you can schedule lots of different tasks in Sage already. So I'm going to schedule a task because I want to email out a sales order report, a sales order report to my management staff every Monday. It's going to come from company code ABC, my password, I think it's blank. So here's where we can say, okay, you can have it automatically post journals and registers, let's say every day at the end of the day if you'd like. You can say you want to run reports, which is what we're going to do. If you want to do import jobs and export jobs through the VI module, Visual Integrator, you can do that. We're going to go through reports, okay? I'm going to schedule a job, let's say weekly. You can choose the start and the end date. I want to do it weekly. I want to say every Monday, okay? Then we're going to go to tasks. Now, this is where you choose your module. So my report is in here, and I'm going to go to Open Sales Order Report. If you have a custom setting, which I do not here, if you have like a custom setting for that report, you can choose it here. Now, for printer, instead of choosing a specific printer, which you can still print it out to, you want to choose Paperless Office, and now you can type in an email address. Okay? And so now I say accept. It's not going to work, is it? No. We say accept, and then it's set up. It's going to go out every Monday. It's going to email to management, and there we go. And you can set up as many of these tasks as you want. So this is a nice new feature. This feature to be able to email out is only in version 2020, but you can use this task scheduler for other things like I just mentioned, okay? Like you can do reports and just have it printed every Monday or something, okay? So that's something that's pretty cool that's new. So that's Paperless Office, and you can use that across any of the modules here, just like I showed you. You know, you can email out your purchase orders, you can email out your invoices, you can email out, you know, any of the things that are across the board in these modules. I just kind of gave you a quick rundown of it. Does anybody have any questions now?
Thank you, Erin. We'll now open it up for questions. If you have any questions, please enter them into the questions section of your GoToWebinar, and we'll give that a minute in case any come through. And just a reminder, everyone, we do have a subject matter expert here. This is a great opportunity to have your questions answered in real time. And it looks like we do have one that's come through, Erin. Who do we contact for more information on Paperless Office?
You can contact myself, erin.oldacre@swktech.com. Do you hand them my email address, or do you give them after the meeting?
Yep, I can send that out in the follow-up email with the recording.
Okay.
And that looks like all the questions we have for today. So thank you so much, Erin, for your informative presentation and for taking the time to be here today.
Thanks. Thanks, everyone, for joining me today and taking time out of your day.
Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your day.